Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Who's Big Bill talking to you tonight. It's August 21st, 2018, 9:02 p.m. And tonight we have the honor to be speaking with Miles Hale, the one, the only, the man, the myth, and the legend. And yeah, he's there, Miles. We're talking about you, Miles. So, well, welcome to Who's Big Bill talking to you tonight. This is the last one for August at prom. I apologize for clapping my hands. Just before we get to talking to Miles, let's do some homework. This Thursday, I got it written down here someplace. Yeah, this Thursday, August 23rd, we'll be having Johnny's Train Talk. That's his show where all of you in the community are invited to join him, be a guest on his panel and or in the chat box where you can ask any questions about model railroading or just basically pop in and see what you're working on and share it with the rest of the community. That's this 23rd of August at 9 p.m. Central Time, 10 Eastern Standard Time. And then he'll finish out the month on August 30th, and that will be the last of the Johnny's Train Show talk for the summer of 2018. And then we have a chock full of stuff that we're going to be doing in September and finished. And he's going, or hopefully if we can, once he gets his sound up, that we can talk to him about it. His layout was one of the tours that they had, and people came and visited him. And Johnny Reb spent some time with him. Johnny spent some time with them. Andy spent some time with them. They also went to yeah. So if Mr. Crawford could call up Mr. Hey, show of hands, who wants a tour of Big Bill's layout? Anybody? You can put on. I'm looking at the Q&A. Any show of hands? Nobody wants to see my layout? Nobody? Really? Seriously? Oh, Cabana Bob Shellman said yes. That's all I needed was one guy. One guy. Okay. Well, we're working on that. We're going to take a tour. So if you got your Dramamine, okay, Andy put his hand up. Okay, if you got your Dramamine, because I got this new fancy laptop computer, so I'm gonna be able to. Let's see how much battery I have. I have a lot of battery. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug, and now we're officially untethered from Con Edison's electricity. Okay, boys, girls, if you're out there listening. Here is Big Bill's South Brooklyn layout. Okay, but before we do that, I get ready. South Brooklyn Railroad is based on. Oh wait, Miles is coming back, so this may be premature.
Can you hear me?
Is he back? Is he back?
I'm getting absolutely nothing. Not there. Well, I see him.
We can hear you, Miles.
Hear him at all.
I can hear you. He can't hear us, so let's go back to plan.
I got volume at the top. Yeah.
Okay, he can hear us, but we can't hear him.
No, I'm on the same PC, and it's just totally dead.
Totally dead. Okay, we're lifting up. We are now lifting up. Here we go, folks.
Yeah.
We're going to the back. First and foremost, take a look. This is one of the engines. This is one of the engines. This is South Brooklyn Railroad. That's an exact replica of the engine that is South Brooklyn Railroad. You can look it up, and you can see that engine. And I also have the N2. And this is the famous Genco oil and coal plant. This is where all the nefarious, all the business union coal goes there, and this here, you can see it, is the famous Brooklyn Lollipop Company, and there's the abandoned cement plant in the back with some. You on, Ma? No. And some abandoned engines that are in there that got scrapped. I haven't been moved to the scrapyard yet. And here's the Dean Street lumber yard. Here we go. And here's the O'Shea junkyard. Can you see this? I'm holding it. What fell down? Yeah, I know it did. Some 6-year-old girl was in here playing with it. Yeah, my my adopted granddaughter was in here playing with the trains. And as you can see, the highway is busted. The highway has got to be fixed. But here's the Brady Construction Company, and this is where the Canavelli Pasta Factory. Can you see that? Canavelli Pasta Factory and the Graham Bakery Company. We sell bakery scraps. We get the bakery scraps from all over, and then we break it into feed and we ship it down to South Carolina to upscale horse farm. Canavelli Pasta Factory makes the finest pasta in Brooklyn, New York, and it's distributed worldwide. Some of it's been even known to be in Colorado, California, and Vancouver, British Columbia. The lolly. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Hold on for 1 second here, because I lost everybody. Okay. The Lollipop Factory has a plethora of flavors. We have Cabana Bob. Would you like me to name them? There's cherry, there's strawberry, there's lime, there's lemon, tutti frutti, strawberry jambalaya. That's a new one. I don't know how well that's going to work, but what else? We also have pineapple with a pineapple in the center of the lollipop. So that's just a few. It's just countless. Apple gooseberry. That's a good one. Uh, what else? Here we go. Now I turn you around. Now see that. See now we're looking. We're looking. That we just came from there. Genco oil into Brooklyn Lollipop. The abandoned in the very far corners. The abandoned downtown cement plant. We gave that went out of business back in the 50s. And there's 2 engines in there that I had shells, just dummy, and I just decided to put them in there to fill a space. So what I did was I really weathered them up tremendously and put them in there, and they're kind of like a scenic, thing. You don't really notice it, and then you do notice it, so it's pretty good. And this is Third Avenue Warehouse District.
I have sound and the whole bit.
We have the Binford Tool Company plant number 2. We have the Railway Express, Stevens Groceries, and Pillsbury Flour Company. Now that's an interesting Pillsbury that it should be there. Interpretation with Canavelli's Pasta Factory over here, because Canavelli doesn't get their power from there. There's a whole story of this layout.
Okay. Can you hear me, Bill?
Yeah.
Hello, Bill.
Hello, Miles. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Bye-bye, Andy.
Can you hear me?
We're up.
You can hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Sorry, I need makeup now. I turned the makeup artist loose for the evening, you know.
Okay, Mr. Trump, we don't. No, that's all right, Mr. Trump. You can go back.
You hear me?
Yeah, no, I got you now. I'm just telling
Okay.
Donald that. I'm telling Donald Trump that he doesn't have to. He can go back to tweeting.
Try here to do a little bit of shift, get sound a little better. There we go. Now,
can you hear me?
You bet. I got you. You're wonderful.
Okay.
You are fantastic.
Well, thank you, Mike. You are too. You're pretty good too. So let's go. Let's start.
I do want to get my one dig in on this thing. However, though, the problem that we had, I need to give you a better picture. There we go.
There you go.
The problem we were having was that I bought a dedicated, relatively inexpensive PC dedicated to doing nothing but these shows.
Mm-hmm.
And Andy and I cannot get that PC now, all of a sudden this evening after it's been working, to do its thing. So guess what? We're on Apple tonight. Yay, Apple. It always works, unlike the PCs that mess up 90% of the time. My 2 cents. Now you can go on with your show. I've had my shot at PC.
All right. John, if you got that, on the next budget meeting, let's incorporate some money for technical.
Yeah, buy a case of apples, you know, I mean, pick this up so we can all work.
I know, I hear you.
And trust me, I don't know what it is about me. I have a jinx, you know, over me that anytime I try and do a broadcast, sound is my nemesis. And this was no exception.
So
y'all, I heard you all when I signed in and you were talking away and you said, okay, we're going to go live. And everything went dead.
Of course.
You were gone. I was watching you guys and you were doing a great job back and forth there, talking and having a good time. And I knew sooner or later you'd look at, why is he not responding?
Well, I was given the intro and I was given I was doing homework, you know, of upcoming shows. And then I cut and I said, okay, here's the time. And I said, now without further ado, let's talk to Miles. Hale, the man.
I sat there with a smile on my face, like,
right. And I said, the man, the myth, and the legend. And I said, okay, Miles, so how you doing? And then there was.
I just sat there.
So we gave him the backside tour of the South Brooklyn Railroad, and while we were filming.
I saw you were doing a tour around there. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
The picture that you had up when I finally did actually come on, was off my iPad, which is back here. With the new switcher I have, this thing's on Wi-Fi, so I can take it around and put it any place. And come on, too. Yep. There we go. There's my furnace, and there's the camera that you guys are on right now. You can see my monitor.
But
the new thing is I can carry this thing around anywhere and set it up, and you can see what I'm looking.
Right. Well, technology is only good when it works.
Yeah, it's nice when it works. Yeah, but this is an Apple, and it works.
There's no animosity or sarcasm in your voice tonight.
Oh, not at all. No. I just happy. I tell you one story about me. Steve Priest, who just ran the national convention, and I have known each other for a long time. As a matter of fact, it used to be that White River's production offices, which Steve is the editor-in-chief and charge of, he was out on the north side of Kansas City in a strip center, industrial type strip. And immediately under his office, in the basement around the back side, Fran and I, because we didn't need, high dollar exposure like he does. We just wanted a basement where we put railroads together. And so I was underneath him for, I don't know, about 2-3 years, something like that. And they're artists, and Fran and I kind of, I guess you'd have to say are too, because we were creating railroads and that kind of stuff. You get kind of burnt out after a while. After you work about 3 or 4 hours, you got to come out and you got to take a break, do something else. and they would come out in the parking lot usually and throw a Frisbee around. So we'd take a break, and I'd go out and throw a Frisbee. Friend would go for a walk or something else, take a break, come back to work. So at any rate, there's a concrete floor between us. And one day, Steve came knocking at our door. And Fran answered it. And he said, what the expletive is wrong? Because I was on my PC, which is the only thing I'd had at that time for a long time, and it was not functioning. Normally doesn't do very well. And I was talking to it loudly enough to be heard across 3 parking lots, let alone 1. And so he walked in and he said, Miles, you got to do something about that. He said, get an apple. And he has all apples for his traffic work and everything else. And I went out, I think the next day, and bought my first apple. And it worked. Then I opened it up, did great. So I'm an apple guy again.
Yeah.
You'll get plenty of comments from the PC guys. So we'll open up the chat for PC construction.
Well, I agree with you. When I was looking to get rid of my computer, tower and the whole thing, I started looking at laptops. And my sister, she's a professional photographer by trade. She uses Apple exclusively. So she was steering me an Apple, but it didn't. When I looked at the price, it just didn't fit my needs. What I need to do.
Yeah, that's the problem with Apple. I was talking to Andy about one that I bought about 5 years ago, which is the one that we're on tonight, and it's got like 16 gig of RAM, and it's got 750 in storage. I mean, it's a big monster. It's only a 15-inch laptop, but it's a monster of a thing. And I think it was $3,000 or $4,000. I mean, it was an expensive computer. The good news is we bought it about 4 or 5 years ago. And it's still running, and it works perfectly.
Well, let's get so.
Yeah, how about some railroads, right? Just like 2 old guys sitting about their health problems, Let's get the railroad.
Yeah. Did you urinate this morning? Yeah, just a few.
Yeah, well, yes.
Just a few drops. But anyway, getting back to it. You just recently had the National Model Railroad Association convention in your state and in your area, and
I had it in my backyard, and my railroad is.
I understand you had your railroad. Your layout was on tour. It was on the stop list of people. Did you get a lot of visitors?
Actually, I had a couple of celebrities. Johnny stopped by, and so did Andy. So so we had 50 people on Tuesday, 100 on Wednesday, and another 100 on Thursday. About 250 people through in 3 days.
Very nice, very nice. And how was the Miles wants to not Miles, Sparky wants to know what is the name of Miles' monthly show? Well, Miles is currently with Trainmasters TV, and you can see him on there. He's done some regular series now. Miles joined.
I'm on YouTube Model Builders.
I was just going to say that he's joined us. He's gracious enough to be and share his thing, and he usually works with Andy on the Fine Scale Modeling Show.
Yeah, and then also I have my own channel. Whoops, that thing. Need to kill over here. I have my own YouTube channel, which is Model Railroading University.
Yes.
If you just go to YouTube and then type Model Railroading University, I'll come up. However, I will say this. I don't ask for money. I'm not monetized. I'm not on any Patreon or anything else. All my videos are free. I love doing it. I love giving it away for free. But my benefit is I don't have to do it every month because people shouldn't expect that I'm going to treat it like a job. So anyway, when I get a subject and I really want to do it, I'll hammer on it, go on it real quick, which I'm about to do, by the way, and I'll give you a little announcement of what's coming up because it's here on my work. If you didn't get to come, Bill, to the national, did you, last couple of weeks?
No, I did not.
Okay. Well, there were some guys in the train show. I went there to film the Trainmaster coverage of the train show on Friday, and there were 2 young gentlemen. 25, 30. Very astute. They're electronics engineers, I believe, and both of them are model railroaders. And they looked at the current situation of model railroad control and said, wow, we don't like this. Not exactly what we would expect. And so they made their own, we would call it decoder, they call it receiver, because this little guy, I'll do a close-up here with the iPad. This little guy is absolutely amazing. Here, and there he is. And the neat thing is on the left-hand side, you can see, on the left-hand side, you can see that there's an antenna right between my fingers. There's an SD card here. And then the decoder with all the standard connections of NMRA. And look at what's hanging down here. Get my hand.
For a nice
speaker. A speaker for less than $100. They have the receiver, speaker, sound, comes either diesel or steam. Excuse me. And you can custom record any sound on that SD card and load it in here. You can change it, update it. The app to run this is free, and it's on your iPhone or Android. Actually, it's on your Android phone, or it's on your Android tablet. And I went out. This pained me, but I did this. I went out last week and I bought an Android tablet, and on there I have the app for this one I don't use.
As you look at Miles, I just want to forgot about the Bob's Man Cave was there. It was Ron's things had stopped by to visit you. We didn't get a chance to mention them.
Yeah.
Oh, famous. That's right. I'm sorry, Ron. Sorry, Bob. Sorry. Sorry, guys. You know, Ron only 10,000 subscribers to his channel. Not famous enough.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to turn it on. Let's go back to the experiment. Anyway, there's an app for the decoder. Maybe it came up after all. It did. Hopefully.
Joe Desmond's in that. Central Jersey, Conrail and N-Scale. Hello.
Okay, so anyway, there's an app on here that you can control this with, because this will run off of DC on the rails, DCC on the rails, or battery on the locomotive itself. So this competes with all the dead rail stuff. It competes with DC, all the DCC systems and everything else, because the control is actually from your phone or from your tablet and off the app. It's actually a Wi-Fi rather than radio. So we don't get the interference. You've heard about interference with the NCE radio or the Digitrack radio, and all that's gone. And it works off the Wi-Fi, which is a much better way to communicate. New control. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this into one of my locomotives. I am going to use the S-cab power supply because it constantly takes voltage off the track, constantly recharges the battery. So I'll put it on battery, do it as a dead rail, but I'm going to use this Wi-Fi throttle and give it a try. One problem that I had during the convention was that I had some interference in the railroad room with throttles. I was using the S-cab radio. And what I found out after the convention, didn't find out before, unfortunately, but what I found out afterwards was that the NCE antenna apparently is operating on near the same frequency as S-cab, and so we were getting interference. But that's been eliminated. I unplugged the antenna, and all the S-cab stuff now works great. But I am going to go ahead and try the Wi-Fi, because I think that would eliminate any problem. Excuse me, and then I can go back to the NCE and if need. But anyway, look for the video. I hope in the next week I'll have it out on how this particular unit, Loco Phi, the LOCO-Phi, type that in, it'll come up. I think you'll find that it'll be a really neat problem.
How it seems that's going to be on your university, Model Railroad University channel?
Say again?
That's going to be on the YouTube model channel?
It'll be on the Model Railroad University channel, yeah.
Right. Okay.
I think that channel, Andy has that channel linked over to YouTube Model Builder.
Right, exactly. So with the convention, what was your overall consensus? What was your thoughts?
Well, I think, Kansas City's kind of hard not to do well in because we're the center of the United States. So no matter what, you're going to get a crowd. I have not heard any figures from them. I don't know if they'll ever put out the actual figures of it. I would guess we had something 1,500 attendees. I don't know how many people had train show. I have no idea there. Probably pretty successful. I believe we had a lot of success. My guess is overall we had a very successful convention. The most successful convention ever at the NMRA was 1998, I believe, here in Kansas City. Financial guess is that this equally well attended, so numbers on the finance NMRA should be very good.
Yeah, it seems like your audio is breaking up, Miles.
Am I breaking up?
Yeah, it's like every other word.
Yeah. Sound. A little bit of space. Hold on, I'll turn it down here. Now, try that. Okay? I can also change batteries on the mic if it's a little too low. You okay? You hear me? Yeah, okay, all right. Does it sound better? Okay. Say like this. If I need to, I'll change batteries.
Yeah. Bob Zenscale, Man Cave, he said he thought the train show attendance looked low to him.
Yeah, the predictions of the death of our hobby, are everywhere. I don't know that it's really dying a rapid death, but, the average age of a model railroader keeps climbing every year. 10 or 70 of the average year, so average age of model railroaders. So at some point, yes, it's got to become a more than serious problem. For right now, I think we're doing pretty well, but when you have fewer model railroaders, you have fewer numbers in attendance. And the other thing, unfortunately, this is something Fran and I were talking about. We have an increasing number of people that are handicapped, canes, walkers, wheelchairs. Unfortunate, when we bought this house, now about 5 or 6 years ago, we specifically looked for a house that's all one level. We had a sidewalk put around the outside access. I have to admit it was selfish. I want other people to be able to get in, but it was for me so that at some point in the future, if I have to have access to it, I have a way to get around to get to the railroad, and I'm not locked out. But I think that's an indication of the way that our model railroad hobby is going. We have a large number of people now. I saw an inordinate number of wheelchairs running around the train show. I just think as we get older and our mobility gets less and less, it's going to get harder and harder for our members to attend the very convention that's our national convention.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I can't imagine that attendance hasn't started to drop in terms of the convention itself. Now, the train show is another matter. That I don't know. I think that's just because model railroading is just not as popular as it used to be. Kids don't see trains. They're not coming in at younger ages, and that leaves all of us who have been around for a while hold up the institution. We can only hold so long.
Yeah, true. Now your audio is really dipping down.
Is it fading?
Well, it's dipping out. Yeah, from what I'm listening, it's like very scratchy and every other word.
Well, that may be the furnace. I don't know. Awfully close setting here.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, yeah, that seems to be the consensus is that some people and like when we had Lionel Strand on, I think he believes it's going the other way, that the hobby is picking up, you know.
If it's picking up, it's picking up because we have, I mean, when we used to do Model Railroad University as a class here, we had a large number, almost 100%, doctors, lawyers, school superintendents, retired business people. And I think for the most part, it's people that have spent their lives getting their retirement incomes kind of in line. They were about to retire or they just did retire. And now they're looking to go back, pick up those skills. So they would come to us to learn about model railroading. I think we've had a great influx in people that are 55, 60 years of age. That's good that we get more membership, but it doesn't help us in the long run keeping the hobby alive, because those people that are coming in now new to the hobby essentially are the same age as those of us who have been active all along.
Yeah.
What we need is the 20, 30-year-olds. Lionel may be well right that we are growing, but I don't think that it's going to be a healthy growth because in the long run, because I think the attrition would just simply take out faster at the top. Morbid way to look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've seen in recent going to model shows out here in the East, in the Northeast here, as a lot more, like you said, people with walkers and wheelchairs and canes, and not enough of the younger crew in their 20s and stuff like that. But Nathan DeLay, are you on the model? Are you on the Model Railroad magazine? What magazine would that be?
What's that?
He wants to know, Nathan DeLay, are you on the Model Railroad magazine? I guess he would. I guess Model Railroader.
Model Railroader magazine?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been on the cover several times, and I had, I don't know, probably 20 articles, I guess, in MR, an equal number in RMC, and some in the Bulletin, and all kinds of stuff. But that's really old history. I haven't done anything lately with anybody, not even with Model Railroad hobbyists. All my work now is on video.
Right. I think that we've discussed that before, where you're concentrating more on the video end of it than the written word of it,
Yeah. I think, anytime you can get on and do a video, the old picture's worth 1,000 words. Well, trust me, the video's worth 10,000.
Sure. MHO Junction up in Canada says today with Facebook, that's where people hang out, ask questions, and see layouts. It's true.
Yeah.
I think they do. I think we have a lot more care model railroaders than we do who physically go out and build.
I mean, it's harder for those of us that did not grow up with a computer, but I try to think every time, if I have a question about something, go to the internet and look it up because it's there.
Well, I remember when I first downstairs in the basement. We did it on a mining company, and I remember going to the local library and doing the card catalog, Dewey Decimal System, which probably some of you don't know what that is, and looking at information on railroading and seeking and doing something old-fashioned, writing letters to people who that knew about it, the reply back. But now you have instantaneous access to all that information and everything. Central Jersey, I assume you're talking about the fact that the NMRA is saying they lost about 2,000 members. I think that is more of a reflection of the mismanagement of the organization, not the health of the hobby. Okay.
Yeah.
Ralph Renzetti says, yeah, but the young crowd said Facebook is for old timers. Yeah, that's true.
I'm not going to do the politics because I'm kind of the black sheep right now. I used to be on the board, but I'm not anymore. So I'll just avoid the politics of NMRA.
Well, no, I understand completely. I really do, truly, because it's a drama thing. And even though drama subscription count goes up, it doesn't really settle anything. It doesn't really do anything for us or the hobby itself. It just divides. It doesn't bring it together. But and your layout, was there any surprises? How did your layout work when you had your layout?
Well, you mean surprises since the convention?
Well, since the convention, I know prior to that we had spoken, on the phone and via the video, where you and Fran were like, running around, things, straightened out, cleaned up, getting the bathroom cleaned up, making sure there was toilet paper in the bathroom and stuff like that, and making sure that the trains ran. And how did that work out?
Well, it worked out pretty well. Let me change batteries here. This one says I'm almost dead. And now, you hear me?
Yeah.
Better?
Better.
Okay. Let me check the other batteries on the receiver, and that may also need to be changed out. Then I'll take you into the railroad, and I'll show you what we did do, because we did a lot of work.
First and foremost, was there enough toilet paper in the bathroom? Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Hey, what? He's back. Hey, Miles. Before we continue this conversation, I got to do a shout out to my friend Marcel Valor and Joe G from out in Arizona. The other day, I received in the mail from Marcel and from Joe G the whiskey, the Firehouse whiskey boxcar he sent me from Marcel and Joe, thanking me, for being a part of the hobby, and as a gift, they sent me that boxcar. So I just want to give a big shout out to those guys. Thank you so very, very much for that. I was truly touched by it and honored that you would think that I was such a deserving recipient of that gift. And I know that you hard to make it. So thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. Okay. So how was the and you also have a larger scale in the backyard, a garden railroad. Is that correct, Miles?
Yes, I do.
And was that also part of the house tour?
We had it out. I was not giving rides. One problem with live steam, right on railroads nowadays, is that the liability insurance is just outlandish.
And really?
Everybody's kind of a little bit worried about it. So I was not giving rides as such one, but it was out there and it was ready to go.
How much if I may ask, how much is insurance for something like that?
Hold on 1 minute. I'm changing you out here, so I take the speaker and disappear here. Got to get so I make it a little more mobile. Okay, now, can you say something?
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Okay. Yes, I hear you. Okay. I'll take the speaker as far as I can go here, and then we'll go from there. Yeah, I can hear you a little bit. Oh, yeah, that might be a good idea. Good idea. Good idea. Oh, all right. So, well, no kidding. This is the lounge, and I should turn things on here. Yes, I'm a Houston Royals. Sorry, I do live in Kansas City, and I was born here. Give you a little tour on here. This area was in our kitchen in Louisville, Kentucky, when we lived there, and it didn't fit upstairs, so I brought it down here and put it in. It's a part of our crew lounge, what room you're in now, and hence because it was in the kitchen, Fran's Diner. She really was a Betty Crocker best kitchen cook. Does best job of cooking. When you see me in person, you can see my belly, and you'll see why. So anyway, my grandfather worked for Seal Test Dairies by the Seal Test sign, and that pretty much covers that. Uncle was Miles Hale, and he lived in West Missouri. He was back at his little fan there, and around the room. I tried to make it like a museum. So we have an awful lot of things around here that some pertain to me, some pertain to Fran, some just general in railroading. I particularly like the resume from the Long Range.
Tanto and Kimosabi.
And Tonto, yes. Then over here we have a little bit. I did have a special effects company down in San Antonio, so the check was
that's an old auger.
There's the check and receipt from ABC TV. I did a set for all my children, and photograph was in one of the train magazines up there, Model Road University sign. Pretty much all there. The pictures around here are when I worked for Vermont America, the model maker. Those are all the tool guys, the tool shows. Steve from this old house, a bunch of the others. And then over here, a little bit more interesting maybe. My dad had that projector. That's the logo that he painted on the side of my first cameras again. There we go. That's the first logo that he painted on the side of my first railroad building. And interested in old Brownie. This is kind of interesting. Those of you that are really old railroaders may remember that's how we started off the throttle. That's the plate rectifier.
Oh, wow.
That's the real thing, and that's about 50 years old. DIY, I was on the show there. That's Chris Gianelli, the announcer, and the logo for that. Done several years ago, my grandmother's house, and some whatnot stuff hanging around there. About covers that. Anyway, once you go through the crew lounge and you come out here, and this is the Hall of Shame. Every model railroader has it. It's all the plaques and magazines. You're not getting a picture? Oh, I don't know.
Good night, Sparky.
You picking it up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it. Okay. Gonna pick up. Back over here. Now you see me. Please see me. All right. I don't know if I can take you in the layout room then or not. No. Niggle. I'll tell you about it. That's because I can do that. I don't have cords long enough to allow me to go in there with the camera.
All right.
Everything is Kansas City Southern. The buildings are 3 feet high, 30 inches, 33 feet high. Some of them are 4 and 5 feet wide. I really wanted to create the canyons of New York. Active canyons, Kansas City in there. So when you walk in, you have buildings on both sides of you that dwarf you. They're taller than you are. Want you to feel like we're down in what we call the bottoms of Kansas City,
right,
which is down by the Missouri River. And that area then is where we had all of our industries and where our railroads actually ran to service those industries, including the Kansas City Stockyard, which I also have modeled. watch my Model Railroad University channel, and you get a lot of what I'm doing, and we'll be able to continue to do so hopefully over the next 2 years.
Right. I'm going back to the outdoor modeling. What was the insurance? If I me asking, what does it cost if you wanted to run that to insure? The liability.
Well, that's one problem that we have. This is the first time that I've had a group through, and I think it's Live Stream Magazine as an advertiser that advertises insurance specifically to cover you for your live steam railroad liability when people come in. But I really don't want to buy that policy for a year, which is going to run me another probably $50,000, when I'm only going to do it one time in probably 10 years. So we didn't. So I don't really have the insurance coverage, and so no ride.
Yeah. The insurance companies. Well,
it has more to do with lawyers than the fact that everybody drops a lawsuit on anybody at the drop of a hat.
No, you're right. Absolutely.
So, I mean, I could lose all 3 railroads in the house overnight, and that's a little more risk than I want to take.
No, I'm sure it is. But the overall consensus of everybody who came through the house, was there?
Well, I think so. Ask Johnny and Andy, but yeah, I think so.
Was it the wow factor when people came in? Did they go, wow?
I don't know. I hope so.
I have a pretty decent sized layout, so I know I'm always amazed when people come in. I'm sure this happens to you as well as to me and to others who have their own model railroad. You don't think of your model railroad as a work of art or as what you think it should. And so when people come in, and they give you that wow, you did this? How did, what? And then, you're like, then you leave, and then after God is like, wow.
Well, John, I think Johnny will verify that this is what I did, that I purposefully kind of allowed the people to go into the railroad first.
Yes.
And then after they had gone in, I followed him in, shut the door, and I talked about the bottoms and where everything was. And then I said, but, this illusion is kind of destroyed because there's a door behind me. And so at that point, I reached back and I let the drawbridge down, which if you've watched my channel, you see that the background automatically comes across. And all of a sudden, you have a 360 panorama of nothing but buildings. You are literally surrounded with no visible way out.
Right.
In fact, my next line to them was, you're now in the mystery room, and if you can find the clues, you can find your way out.
Right,
But yeah, at that point, I don't know how many people, it was a bunch, wanted to film that gate going up and down so that they could show their friends how it worked.
Sure.
And that was a little bit of a wow factor.
Yeah, I can I can say for sure because my mic's hot now, by the way. Yeah, when we got there and got into Miles's layout room, when he shut the door and closed the lift up, yeah, it all disappeared. I mean, there's no indication of a door there. None whatsoever. Because like Miles said, all you saw was those buildings. But his layout's fantastic. Especially since, I mean, I've seen it on and off in the live chats and all when he's working on it and everything. And I kind of knew about a few spots to look for. But for most people, when they're looking, and you come in like over at his town section, the way he's done his road, it's kind of going uphill, but then it goes over, and you see another road coming back up. Well, that's the wall. You don't realize that. You really don't. He's got another section, the way he put the buildings in there. Of course, he doesn't have the corner of the room. You don't see corners in the walls because he set it up to where it's all rounded. But when he put the buildings in, the way he set the buildings, yeah, there's no indication you're in the corner of the room right there. Yeah, it looks like you're just kind of going down the street and then turning. to go down another one. I mean, he's done a great job on it. And I've seen it in live chat, but when I was there, I really looked at the buildings and the way he did his buildings, his flats. Way he's got some sticking out more than usual with other buildings overlapping in behind them. I mean, it just looks great. It really does. It all works fantastic. I mean,
when I had the special effects company down in San Antonio, one of my sideline activities was I would build what they called cyclorama studios, and that's where the walls of the studio, I would wrap them with a curved corner, so you didn't see an actual corner, it just continuously around. And then also, in order to make a real site, what you have to do is take the walls and you curve them to the floor. And where you have corner and the floor, then you have to come in and you put in a dish. So everything is rounded. It's like a planetarium with some flat surfaces where the walls actually are. But the corners are not corners, they're all rounded. And it's amazing, the human brain and eyes determine distance by shadow. So when you make those curves, you take the shadow lines away.
Right.
The human eye and the brain cannot tell where that wall is because there's no shadow to relate to. So that's the first thing, is that the ceiling in my room and the walls are they're all curved, similar to a planetarium. So you have no reference to where that wall is. And then in the corner, I purposely tried to make 4 different treatments for the corners. In one of them, I have a couple of buildings where I put the part of the building was squared up, then the other part came down, so it looked like they disappeared into the corner. On the one that Johnny talked about in the first, the neighborhood, I had an artist friend of mine who was on the same tour with me. As a matter of fact, his house was the one right before mine. He was the art teacher here in Belton, Missouri for many, many years, about 30, I think. But he came in and he painted the road in so it looks like it disappears. And then in another corner, in the bottoms, and I'm sure in other areas too, we have a lot of buildings where they're on one side of the alley. We had the trains running through the alley, and you have other buildings that face the other way. In other words, this one faces out to one street, this one faces out to the other street. You've got the back, and you've got the alley with the train going through. They would put connectors, sometimes 2, 3, 4 floors high, and maybe 100 feet long. I mean, there were huge connectors so that the buildings, people could go back and forth between them, even though they were going over the railroad track. And so in one corner, I have a connector. I have a building that's flat on the wall, another one that's 3-dimensional, and there's a connector going across. The train disappears back into the corner underneath the connector. So in every case, I tried to make the treatment of the corners different, so you wouldn't see the same type of illusion or whatever every time you come up. But Cyclorama really does help for taking corners away and making things seem bigger than they are.
Yeah. Miles, when did you, when I know that prior to you getting into model railroading and doing the things that you've done, you used to be a physical education teacher, correct?
Yeah. I always fall back on that. Whenever somebody starts getting really technical about, electronics or whatever, I would say, now I'm a PE teacher, so you got to kind of dumb that down a bit. And it really is true. I mean, I didn't grow up in the era of computers. I started off with the slide rule like most people did. I learned to read vernier calipers, not dials and not digitals. So I'm really kind of old-fashioned in that standpoint. But yeah, I was a PE teacher at the very start of my career.
So when you started out as a physical education teacher, gym teacher, what brought you into model railroading? Was it something you always had done as a hobby, and then said, "Hey, I don't want to really kids this."
I think like a lot of people, it's luck of the draw, being in the right place at the right time. When I taught up here I came up here to Kansas City and I taught elementary PE, which is what I really wanted to do. And then I decided, well, I really liked it back down in San Antonio, which I had been there for a couple of years at the end of my Air Force time. And so I said, well, I want to go back down. and they had a job opening down there at a private girls' school. I was 28, and so they wanted a tennis coach, which I happened to be a USPTA teacher pro at that time. So I took the job down there, went down. The headmaster was wonderful. He was the one that hired me. 2 years into it, and he decided that he wanted to be a professional photographer, and he quit school. And the new headmaster that they brought in 30 teachers with him from, I don't know where he was, Austria or someplace. And one of the teachers that he brought in was a tennis coach. So I'm out of work. A friend of mine said, well, why don't you come down and work for my advertising agency? Because I kind of sold him on the idea that if I could build models, I could do production art. This is back in the days when you used to have to take copy that would come into you, and you would paste it up with wax, move it around until the ad looked proper. Sometimes you'd have to cut letters apart or words apart and respace. It was actually more artistic as far as pasting things up. My problem was that by that time I was about 30 or now about 35 or 40 actually, and I had a stepdaughter that was 11, and I didn't really want to be gone half the night. Everybody else that worked at the agency was about 20, 22. They just graduated from college, and they wanted to come in at about 9 or 10 in the morning and work till 9 or 10 at night. So after about 6 months, that job didn't pan out, and I was released. That's a nice word to say. And so a friend of mine who worked for the railroad said, well, why don't you come work for the railroad? I said, wow, that'd be great. So I went down, and I had the strangest interview I think I've ever had. I found out that this guy was the assistant superintendent for the San Antonio division, and he had me interview with the superintendent. I walked in. He said, you like railroads? I said, well, yes, sir. He said, you're hired. Go take a physical tomorrow. So I started working for the Southern Pacific. It was a fast hire job. And I worked there for 5 years. I was a switchman brakeman for the first 4 years, and I was a yard master for the last. And during that time, I had a bunch of models that some other people had seen, especially a production house is a company that makes television commercials. They're not really made by the TV studios. They're made by companies that do nothing but do production work, television work. And this one guy said, I need a logo made that's 20 feet long with letters 2 feet high and 6 inches thick. Can you do it? Well, now you have two choices there, yes or no. Right. So I said yes. And I shot him a price, and I made sure that my price covered the price of a brand new Sears bandsaw. So I could cut the letter. And it also covered the price of the cedar wood that I was buying that I was cutting out. Nonetheless, though, that got me started in the special effects business and with model shop. And for 20 years, I worked as model maker, special effects. That's how I got into and out of teaching rather rapidly.
I like the story you tell when you hired I forget the name of the company, but the guy when you got interviewed by the boss. And he said to you, well, what makes you think you can work here? And you told him that you didn't have an ego.
Yeah, I have an ego. What I actually told him was, I have an ego. I know I have an ego. I know any modeler. I don't care whether he's a model railroader or a modeler. If he's good, he has to go. If you don't care about being better and learning, bettering yourself, you're probably not a very good model maker. All of us want to do a little bit better. What I told him was, I can manage those other people, their egos. I can get them, to work together and build a better product. At that time, I was 45, 50, a little older. And that line kind of told him that maybe I could actually. I tried my best. we all have egos.
Yeah.
I don't claim not to. try to do it.
Yeah, it came broken up. I didn't.
I say I try to suppress the ego, but we all have one.
Oh yeah.
Can't get away.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I agree with you. But it definitely has paid off. I know for myself on a personal note that I first became aware of you through your DVDs. You know, I was in the Staten Island Model Railroading Club out here in Staten Island, New York, and I came down and one of the guys, his name was Mike. He says, "Here," he says, "Here, look at this video, this DVD," and he handed me the DVD. So I went home and I put it in, and I was like, "Wow, this guy knows a lot." So thoroughly impressed, you know. And then
most of being on television, even like this, is your ability to BS. And the better you can BS, the more educated you sound.
Well, I always go by what my father used to tell me. You know, dazzle him with the footwork and baffle him with the bullshit.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything about anybody else that's doing the interview here, but just take it with a grain.
No, I'm with you. You know, I'm right there with you, bro. Hey. All the talking heads, man. That's what it is. You know.
That's right.
You know. But the thing is, I was totally impressed. I went out and I purchased them, and I was like, wow, you know. And then years later, you know, I met you, and you're totally not really mean, and you're nasty, and you're not like your video. You're not like your video personality. I was like so surprised, you know. Like,
well, let me tell you what. Next time when we meet, you can buy your own dinner. Then how's that?
Yeah, don't bother me, kid. That's what you said. Don't bother me. Yeah. You saw the video. I know. Yeah.
What can I say? You know.
No, but you are truly a gentleman and a half. When I was honored to know you and have you as a friend. So, yes, thank you. You know, it really is. It's so. I like the idea. I say to people who that know of you and they ask me a question. Oh, I'll call Miles up, and they go, Miles Hale, and I go, yeah, Miles Hale. And they're like, you like know him? Like, yeah, I can talk. And they're like, well, you know. And I said, nah, it's really. He's not. You know, he's a nice guy, but it's it is what it is. He joined YouTube model. He needed a shirt. That's why.
When I used to be at Vermont American, they would send us out for training, for CAD, AutoCAD, and all that. And I was always impressed that the instructors they did those classes would flash a slide up at the end. They had their address, their phone number, and everything. Where you call them, and they invited you to call if you have questions. I do try quite often to make contact a whole lot easier. Anyone that comes into any of my clinics.
Right. And you do. I have to say, I have to say that you are one of the most easiest gentlemen to speak with, and when it comes to model railroading, you got a lot of information, and to sit with you and just chew the fat on that is itself. But anybody who ever has a chance to meet you walks away. You're just a great guy. You're just a great person to be with. And it's not all the time. I know that me and you have been in, company and had private conversations where it wasn't always about model railroading, but it was always good. And you walk away with a sense of, I think the key is listening. When you listen, people take that as like, hey, the guy, you listen to the question, you listen to the problem, and you say, hey, this is what I've done. It's not like my way is the best way. You always presented like, that. So anybody who ever gets the opportunity of meeting you, I'm sure they will walk away with it. I'm having another bromance here. I had it with Steve Rogers last week, and now Steve Brown. Steve Rogers is Captain America. I was with them.
But I am sorry, Bill. I don't know. I don't think I ever told you this, but I allow people 100 questions, You're at 99, so watch.
Well, good night. It's been a pleasure, Miles. Take care. God bless. We'll see you guys on the radio. Hey, this is Bill Graham from Who's Talking, Who's Big Bill? Mark Donovan says that you loved his homemade cookies.
Yes.
That was the big topic at Amherst. It
was. Yeah, I call him the Cookie Man.
Yes, everybody was in anticipation of cookies. They didn't even go to the registration. With Frank, that just immediately walked in and said, "Where is Mark Donovan's cookies?"
Right.
So
we have a good time with that show, and we'll be back this year. We're going to do the Saturday Sunday show. Mike and Barry will do the Thursday Friday University for us, but we're going to be there to do the Saturday Sunday big grandstand public clinic.
And how do you? I mean, how do you feel about that? I mean, was it time for you to?
Well, okay. Let's discuss the dynamics of a house. I have this person who schedules my time, and she has determined that it is time for us to ease out of our.
Okay.
If you
That's good. That's good. That's good to cut back. Sure. A little more traveling, a little bit more, pickleball tournaments.
I tell you what, the convention, of course, ran, and I filmed on Friday. I was very honored. The two people that run Woodland Phoenix wanted a tour on Saturday, so we had a private tour for them Saturday afternoon. They came by, and they left, and Fran immediately packed the car. And Sunday morning, bright and early, as soon as we'd had breakfast, we headed for Des Moines, Iowa, to the state fair. And probably already heard whatever when we were talking. I don't know, maybe it was before the show. But we are headed back again in another week for Iowa, Minneapolis for the narrow gauge show. And as soon as we get back to that, we're headed, she's got me scheduled now. I held her down for about 4 months and told her she can't travel because I had to work on the railroad. And now she, of course, takes all of her little tips and we're on the road.
Okay, so now you're paying for the 4 months. Now it's
I am paying big time. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's cool. That's good. You get a chance to come into the Pennsylvania State Fair.
Have not done that one. We did do the state fair at the Big E a couple of years ago. We were up there. That's an amazing place when the actual East State or the East State Fair is on up.
It's been my it's my wife's dream to go to the Calvary Stampede up in Calvary.
Okay, that would be a good one to go.
Yeah. And the New York State Fair up in upstate New York is pretty good too. We've been to that a couple of times.
Haven't done that.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Friend likes state fairs and she likes Renaissance festivals. Things we also like antique shows. The world's longest yard sale.
Yes,
that was on. Unfortunately, at exactly the same time the national couldn't do it. We'll be out there. Actually, the reason we're going back to Iowa next week is because they have the antique show across Iowa on Highway 3, Iowa 3, runs, I think, 3 days, and we're going to do all 3 days of that, then go to the narrow gauge. So, Iowa and then on up.
I have a good friend of mine, Carl Ortiz, who goes to antiques, and he's gone to the mile long,
Mm-hmm.
And he buys old portraits, old oil paint. Like cheapest he can get them for $2 or whatever they are. And then he takes them home and cuts the backs open looking for the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution.
Oh, yeah. What's one in the back, right?
Right. He says there's one. He's actually, on a couple of them, he's found some, some cash in them. He's found old newspapers, that were worth something. But other than that, nothing. But, I give him Iowa, too. with Hall. That's with the Field of Dreams baseball.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, I can. I can make it into the crew lounge. We didn't do too badly on that. I'll show you my two latest projects. That as soon as the show was over, while we were up in. I switched the cameras. Sorry, hit the button. No, I'm here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. But we got a black screen.
All right, let me see if I can get this thing to come up here, Will.
Yes. We can't see it.
Hold on, I'm going to get. Give me the. Back out, try it again. There, now we're on. Now you got it. Okay. So as soon as over, while we were in Iowa here last week, I found this guy. I've always wanted. I have a fascination with scale. And this one, I call it a comparator scale or a counting scale. You put 1 on here, and then you set the dial down here for 50, 100, or whatever, and you can set it by ones, and then it counts out what's on here. So when the needle up there balances, you know you've got 100 or whatever you set it for. And the other thing I did was a couple of tools. There's antique man. Cool. I like one of the. This is, I think, one of the first models of the utility knife. Screwdriver, plier, cutter, and all that. So I like finding stuff. I like tools. I like trying to take them and rehab them and bring them back up into new condition. Anyway, come on, camera 1. You know. So anyway, I like rehabbing tools, and antique guy here in town always says, well, you know, they're worth more money if you leave the rust and everything on them. I said, yeah, but I don't like them laying around the house that way.
Yeah.
I rehab them. The other thing is I don't like to buy tools that I'm not going to use. Most everything that I buy, I actually use. So I try to look for things that'll help me in the modeling or help do cabinet work. It's a lot more fun to have a tool to do.
Hey.
Man with most tools wins. Dies. Still dead.
A man can't have enough good tools is right. I agree with you.
That's right.
100%. I agree.
Yeah, I'll show you one thing. You'll cry over there. And Johnny will, anyway. There, Johnny. That is a 12-inch caliper. It is Mitsutoyo, and it's certified for ISO 9000. It works absolutely perfect. I drove up on a country road on the world's longest yard sale a couple of years ago, and the guy had his pickup truck there, and he had a bunch of stuff spread on a blanket. And we looked, and he had 2 of these guys, and he wanted $5 a piece. Yeah, that's what I said. I said, I'll take both of them. Well, I brought it home, and I told Larry I think I told it to Larry Alfred. I told him, I said, I got $5. Give me $5. You can have this. And kind of jumped on it. Can't imagine why. It's absolutely fantastic caliper.
When I was down
amazing some of the stuff.
There was a guy selling stuff outside in the front yard. And it turns out he was a retired machinist from Pittsburgh.
Huh?
And, he owned his own machine shop, and he was selling, and he had all the size bits, in the cases, and I was like, so what do you want for them? And he just looked at me and he looked and he says, well, what are you going to use? And I told him what I did, and stuff like that, model railroading and, basic handyman and stuff like that. He says, you going to take care of them? I said, well, yeah. I said, I'm home. I'm going to clean them up, put some linseed oil on them. And as I said that, the guy went, give me $25. And the guy, I said, okay. He had other tools, to which, I couldn't use, but I got a whole set of, precision drill bits. Now I'm just looking for a drill press. Yeah, I'm going to say, Miles, I want to thank you very much for being a part of this, even though we had some technical glitches. It's always fun and interesting to have you on the show.
Sorry. I am going to try and work on getting a camera that we can put in a lot further. If I had an SDI camera, it's a different kind of connection, but if I have that or if I use the Wi-Fi cameras, I can go a little bit further than I can go right now. So hopefully maybe by the time we talk again, I'll be able to get some cameras all the way into the railroad, even when we're here.
As we roll into the September and the cooler months and we start opening the model railroad season, I know for myself, shut down the South Brooklyn Railroad for July and August. I was just telling Johnny before, I was trying to run some trains. The trains wouldn't even move on the track. That's how dirty they are. So I got to do some real heavy duty cleaning on the tracks. But yeah, once the season, modeling season opens.
Remember the secret for good operation.
What's that?
Operate.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Operate.
Run them.
That's my goal for this year, is to operate on this. I'm learning from Joe Desmond. He's doing operations on his railroad. I've been down there a couple of times. It's been very interesting. I'll tell you a quick story. Joe invited me down to his house to operate, and I was going down, and I was a little apprehensive about going down to operate on his road. And, my wife kind of was like, what's the problem? And I said, I don't want to screw up. I don't want to mess up. And she said to me, she said, didn't you work for the transit authority? Didn't you operate subway cars and carry those people around? I was like, yeah, I guess you're right. She says, you operated millions of dollars worth of equipment. You never had an incident. You worked 31 years there. What's the problem? Come on, snap out of it. Hand up. So I was like, okay. So when I went there, anyway, so I was this, based on seniority, I was the low man on the totem pole. So I had 2 put-ins from the yard. And, again, I was like, I don't want to screw this up. I go, Felix, but I'll tell you, when I got the throttle in my hand and he told me what my job was, I was going to train out and up, and I got to the yard master and I said, okay, what do I do now? He says, oh, just disconnect the engines and sit behind that switch. So I did that, uncoupled them and went behind. Then I said, well, what do you need me to do now? He goes, actually nothing. I'm going to switch him into the yard and you go in the room. As soon as he said that, Miles, it hit me. This is what I used to do when I worked. So I went in, I did exactly what I did. I had coffee. I ate all the cookies and I broke everybody's shoes and made fun of them. And they were like, what's this? And I said, this is what I used to do on my job. So I used to say to people, it's like being in high school and getting paid a lot of money. So that was my day. So I found that operations, is not that hard. It's just that you just got to do it. You got to throw yourself into it and just work it. So
more time you turn those wheels, the cleaner the track stays.
Oh yeah, I know. But I just took July and August because I've been really busy with that. You know how it is. You get busy with doing other things. You don't want to be indoors all the time. Just go out.
I know. It's all that skinny dipping out there on the nude beach.
You know that. My secret's out. The secret's out. Yeah, people's eyes right now are burning. That image is like, no, that's not a good image. But anyway, Miles, thank you so very much for being on the show on Who's Big Bill Talking To. September, we come back with a whole new lineup of interesting people with Joe Desmond will be back doing operations this time, and Andy and Miles will be back with their show, Fine Scale Modeling, and Johnny, as always, will be night with the Thursday night train talk show. The community is invited to come in and to see and to talk about model railroading and any projects that you're working on and any questions that you might be having on a project that you are working on. This is the place to come and see what everybody else is doing and what advice you can get, whether it's weathering, because we got Ralph Renzetti, aka the Mudfather. It's a technical question, and you can always shoot it to Miles, and Miles would be more than happy to get back to you. And as always, we want you guys for tuning in. So without watching, we're just talking to empty air. So thank you, take care, God bless, and we'll see you guys on the radio. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bill.
No problem.